Greetings cats and kittens, welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, yet another episode of this YouTube channel which is devoted to record collecting and this thing we call the vinyl community, the VC, here in the UK. I promised in my last video that this next one would be a vinyl finds, a recent vinyl finds, and it's now springtime. It's a lovely day outside. And so these are the springtime scores, the recent purchases. In my last, one before last, the video before last, I played a extract from a single by a band called Vibrasonic, 90s psychedelic band, and it got quite a good response. And I was wanting to hear more by Vibrasonic, so I found their debut album. They made two albums in the 1990s. I think this is a self-titled one. Now Vibrasonic, it seems, were very much just a studio outfit. I think it's just two people dedicated to creating an authentic, swirling, colourful psychedelic sound a la early Pink Floyd and British pop Psych. So I had high hopes for this record, and it is a good one, but it's fairly inconsistent. I mean, all the sounds and textures are really very lysergic, but there's a mixture of sort of pop psych tunes on here with surf tunes as well, some instrumental surf tunes on it, so it's a bit of a disparate sounding record, but nevertheless glad to have it. From 1995, the debut album by British psych revival band Vibrasonic. Now the next is also a psych sort of freak beat album. It's a reissue of the album by UK band The Open Mind. And The Open Mind were yet another one of those bands who should have made it. You know, they supported Pink Floyd and various other well-known bands from the era of 67 to 69, played at the UFO Club and the Middle Earth and the Bag of Nails, which apparently was a London trendy venue. And the story on the liner notes, which are in this nice gatefold, tell an interesting story about the band The Open Mind. They started off as a group called The Drag Set, and I think there's a tune by The Drag Set on one of the Perfume Garden psychedelic compilations, which I recall was a good one. But this is their only album that they made. It was a flop. And after that, they recorded the single Magic Potion, which crops up on some psychedelic compilations. I'm probably going to do a needle drop of that one, which was just an absolutely stunning freak beat single. So yeah, they never made it. They were known for wearing these leather outfits. You can see the shiny leather outfits, which drew a lot of attention to them, apparently, walking down the King's Road. The story on here is that they, as I say, they were almost rands. Oh, no, they almost were successful. They were playing a show at the Bag of Nails club in London, and someone said that Paul McCartney was in the audience, and someone who knew Paul McCartney said to The Open Mind, would you like to meet Paul after the show? So they said yes, of course. They went over, and there was Paul pouring champagne out for everyone, and apparently rather tiddly. And as way of introduction, this friend of The Open Mind said, so Paul, what did you think of the group? And he said, bloody awful, and carried on pouring out the champagne, said the man who wrote Mull of Kintyre. But this is a fantastic freak beat album, really consistent all the way out. It has the energy of the sort of Who sellout period of the Who, a lot of attack, really nice drumming, psychedelic lyrics on most of the songs. There's an interesting track called Thor the Thunder God, reference I think to the Marvel version of Thor. Great track is Horses and Chariots. I think that should have maybe have been a single as well. The story with the sleeve is very literal. So there's the band, apparently they just didn't know what the cover design was going to be. Apparently one of them was a graphic designer and designed a appropriately psychedelic sleeve, which was rejected. So the record company said, just pose on front of a coffee table. So they did these cutouts of the band and transformed them into this collage where they are emerging out of this Greek looking head, the open mind, crawling out of the open mind, very literal, but you know, I quite like it. It's a great cover shot on the back. So yeah, very, very strong British freak beat Psych there, and it's on the Sunbeam, reissues on the Sunbeam Records label, who've done some very good reissues lately, and the pressing is very good too. In the American garage phenomenon, this is from the Teenage Shutdown series, a compilation I just got the other week called Get a Move On, Snarl and Stomp, Rave and Rant, Teen Garage Hoot. So I think you can guess what kind of sounds are going to be on this record. Very obscure 45s in the garage vein. There's a version of 13 Floor Elevator's Gonna Miss Me on here. You're Gonna Miss Me. It's just called Gonna Miss Me on here. The obscurities on here: the Black Watch, the Spades, the Third Evolution, the Missing Links, the Vacaroos, the Starlights. It's 18 tracks of snarling garage rock, and interesting liner notes here, so you can read all about the band. Nice custom label there, so nice to add to my growing garage collection. This next batch of vinyl finds, I guess, falls into roughly a prog category. Over the last year, I would say, I've been trying to get some records by French band Magma, and I managed to get a couple of originals, but they're really very pricey, and so I was really pleased to find, thanks to Pete from Sounds from the West Coast channel, that one of their masterpiece albums from 1973, Mechanic Destructu Commando. It's very hard to know how to pronounce the invented language which is used on all the Magma LPs, the Cobain language. Was about to be reissued in a limited edition, so I put the order in and here it is. MDK for short. It's nice gold foil sleeve on here. So this music, if you haven't heard Magma, it's very, very dense music, quite choral, a lot of heavy bass, frantic drumming, very much difficult music, I would say, but very, very rewarding. No one else really sounds like Magma, although in their wake they have influenced some bands and who go into the category of music called Azul. So this is, I'm really, really pleased to get a copy of this. It's music on vinyl. It's a very, very nice pressing, very clear. It's on sort of bronze gold coloured vinyl. And another recent Magma, very, very heavy double album of a London concert, BBC 1974. Two of their long pieces, Thus Hamtak and Conta Kos. Yeah, it's another limited one, I believe. There's another music on vinyl issue and CD version of this. The only problem with this one is that the each piece is over 2 albums, so you have to obviously take the stylus off the record and turn over for the next bit of that piece. But nevertheless, nice to have yet another piece of Magma vinyl on my hands. And keeping on the continent, this one was quite cheap. I played it through, and it's a good live album by PFM, Premiata Fornieri Marconi, Italian prog band who signed to Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Manticore label. I don't think this one is on, oh yeah, it is on Manticore, but live album there. It's not a loud pressing, probably because there's so much crammed onto each side, but yeah, very dexterous, quite operatic Italian prog who crossed over into the UK with some success in the 70s. I think this one's from about 74, and it's called Cook, and it has that rather wriggly looking confection on the front there. Too many tentacles for me. This next one is a really, really nice original copy, very nice condition, of Greenslade's second album. The album Greenslade, album with 2 keyboard players, sleeved by Roger Dean. Although Greenslade are a 70s prog band, they're not bombastic in any way. I think one of the things that puts people off of prog is perhaps that kind of Emerson, Lake and Palmer bombast. But there's a sort of lightness of touch with Greenslade, which I really, really like. This is their second album, Bedside Manners Are Extra, from 1973. 2 keyboards, lots of nice melodic mellotron. As I say, a really nice condition copy on the Warner Brothers label. Now this next one, people do categorise this British band as being prog or folk prog, but they do have a very strong pop element in them as well, and that's Stackridge. This is the first album I've ever bought by Stackridge, and this is an album which was apparently fairly successful, called The Man in the Bowler Hat. Now I think Stackridge are probably prog in the sense that you might call 10cc prog, in that their confections, their music is very clever, very sort of thoughtful, but with a strong sort of Beatles influence as well, you know, the 60s pop as it went into the 70s. This was quite a surprise. I bought it. It was one of those occasions where you go into a used vinyl shop. This was when I was on my holiday in London a few weeks ago, and went into an antique shop. I had some records at the front, but they said, would you like to see some more? So we went around the back. thinking we're probably going to be kidnapped, and it was more or less a shed full of records, and there was a lot of junk there, but this is one that I picked out and brought it home and played it and was pleasantly surprised. It's very, very tuneful, whimsical British pop with prog overtones. So I think I probably will try to find out what the other Stackridge albums are like. This next album is another one discovered in the shed at the back of the antique shop in Northwood, North London, a few weeks ago. And when I saw it, I thought, yeah, that's going to be a good buy. Colin Blunston, I Don't Believe in Miracles, the best of his early 70s solo output, because he had been the singer in the Zombies. And I've always liked those songs, I Don't Believe in Miracles and Say You Don't Mind, and they're on here. When I brought this record back home, despite it clean, it's very, very crackly, so it's just bacon and eggs throughout. Not really playable, shame. So I decided I just have to investigate Colin Blunston's solo albums, which I think there are 2 of. Anyway, I've seen one of them around called Ennismore, and I'll do that instead of listening to this one. Now finally, I was very pleased about a week ago to see online that there are going to be some releases from the band from the 90s and early 2000s. Broadcast, celebrated synth, sort of pop retro band, often compared to Stereolab. And the one that really caught my eye out of the 3 albums that have been issued in the last few weeks, one of them is recordings that were only available at 7-inch singles, I think, or CDs given away at their concerts. But this is one of BBC Sessions, double album, Broadcast, Maida Vale Sessions. Trish Keenan, the late Trish Keenan, very icy female vocalist. In some ways I often prefer Broadcast to Stereolab. There's something a little less busy about their music, and especially on these radio sessions, it's very you can hear all the something about BBC radio sessions. Often all the instruments are quite separated, and it really works on these compositions. So that's the Maida Vale Sessions double, very minimal labels tying in with the nice cover design. I'm probably going to investigate more in these, I think the 3 album issues that have come out retrospectively in the last few weeks of the Birmingham band Broadcast. So that's it for this video, just a straightforward old-fashioned vinyl finds video. I hope everyone's keeping well and enjoying the nice weather we have here in the UK. It almost reminds me of 2 years ago, the weather we had in that first lockdown. So maybe I'm getting lockdown nostalgia. It was a quieter time, wasn't it? But anyway, so hope everyone is very well, and I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you all have a good week. So bye for now.